How you doing, everyone? My name is Ryan and this is Ade, and welcome back to another edition of Boxtalk. The super middleweights. It is an interesting month for super middleweights. A few weeks ago we had, last week we had Arthur Abraham losing his title to Ramirez. Long-time champion. Ramirez made a name for himself. Yeah. Let's be fair. You don't dominate Arthur Abrahams like that and say you're not legit.
Yes, agreed.
A few months ago, Lucian Bute, I think it was December, showed his back by pushing James Degale in a very close fight, and earned this spot at another world title shot because it was a very good performance.
But still, it's
coming for loss.
Yeah, you don't like that.
I don't like it at all. But it was a very, very good performance. We argued on the shows that guess what? If he won a round, could have been gone the other way. He's fighting Badou Jack on the 30th.
Yeah.
On the same card, James Degale defends his IBF title against Porky, the guy that knocked out J. Leon Love, Rogelio Medina.
Yeah.
So the division is now wide open. Earlier this month, Callum Smith beat Mohammadi for the European title, which made it mandatory for Badou Jack. The division is mixing, it is shaking, there's a lot going on. Let's look at the 30th of April.
Let's not forget as well, both Degale brothers fight in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, they do fight in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, both Degale brothers.
Let's not forget as well, was it last month? Stern beat Chudinov.
Yeah, so, yeah.
The division is hot.
It's hot, but there's almost this weird, I have a weird kind of, there was no change of the guard fight.
Yeah.
In any of this division. Froch knocked out Groves, went away. Andre Ward, injuries, went up to light heavyweight. And so the two clear number 1 and 2s, never got beat by any of the younger kids.
People got there by merit. No, by default, not on merit.
This is it. So it's almost like, yes, I think Degale might be number 1 in the division, but Badou Jack might argue that.
Yeah.
Degale might say, wait a minute. Even Arthur Abraham might say, look, I'm not number 1 now, but I was for the last 2 years because I had all the defenses.
Yeah.
So it's very strange at the moment. So I feel like the next, like you say, 2 months, we'll finally get some clarity to who is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we can start saying, okay, it's a good division. Well, which one should we attack first?
I think they all should be attacked together because they're all tied into each other.
Okay.
A few months ago, Badou Jack was rumoured to be fighting James Degale. They were talking about it, it could have happened, but for whatever reason it didn't happen. Jack is now fighting Lucian Bute, which means he needs a performance better than James Degale. Because it's kind of a competition. Obviously, the guy I just beat, I'm fighting right now. Degale is getting rid of his mandatory, which we're going to get to in a second. And that kind of leaves them both available to make this fight happen if they win. We all know that Callum Smith is a mandatory for Jack. I don't know if he's going to get that shot straight away. Even Eddie Hearn said, more likely 6 months, a year, he'll get that title shot. He won't get it straight away. So he leaves that summer spot open for possible unification.
Jack's fighting Bute, that's a mandatory or voluntary? Voluntary, must be. Voluntary. So he has to kind of do his mandatory then quick. I mean, how many voluntaries can he have? Then again, WBC seem to allow as many voluntaries as they want. But surely Callum Smith should be fighting Badou Jack after this fight, really? Yeah. Unless a unification supersedes it, which could happen. Badou Jack is an interesting character. Ryan isn't too high on him. It isn't. And I wasn't, but regardless, he's grown on me because no, 2 ways. You beat Degale, I didn't think you were favourite for. You beat Groves, that was a 50-50 fight. So you beat 2 guys that are concrete, rock solid in the top 10.
Yeah.
I have to start saying you're starting to prove your worth for me. Yeah. Even though you didn't look good in your loss to, I think it was the Edwards you lost to, I can't remember, a few fights ago. But regardless, you're starting to prove that maybe you are going to come or blossom from that Mayweather camp. You wasn't the one that was suspected to blossom. Everyone was thinking J. Leon Love and Ashley Theopain. You're the one that's coming through, so I respect that. Bute, like Ryan said, it's hard to kind of give someone credit for losses, but when I thought you were gone after Froch, I look at the way you performed in light heavy against Pascal, where he came on later in the rounds, and the Degale fight I thought was going to be a home runner for Degale.
Yeah, easy.
And again, he started to come on again strong. He will look at Badou Jack and think there's a possibility of nicking a title here. He's a big guy, we all know that. He's fought at light heavyweight and didn't look small at light heavyweight, so he's a very big 168 guy.
Well experienced as well.
This is it, and Badou Jack still has a lot of holes. George Groves wasn't experienced enough to capitalise on those holes.
Yeah.
Nor was Darrell. Bute might be.
No, definitely. I just want to clarify something about these mandatory situations. We got into a little back and forth with a few people on Twitter and YouTube over the GGG mandatory.
Yeah.
And I agree that fighters should have their mandatories in terms of mandatory, but then that's once a year or every 8 months, depending on how it works out. But between that, you should be fighting the best people available, i.e. your peers. There are multiple ways around mandatories. Yeah, that happens all the time within the sport. I could go into a whole bunch of them. I'm not going to get into it. But a mandatory shouldn't stifle your career. As much as I want to see Callum Smith get his world title shot, as much as James Degale is going for his mandatory right now, the fight that should be made is Bute Jack. Is Bute and Degale.
Badou Jack.
That's right. Badou Jack and Degale. Because that's the fight that, one, that's the fight to unify, and two, that's the fight of the two best in the world. Mandatories are all good on paper, but that paper could be changed by the paper which is coloured green.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's a fantastic point. I don't mean this to be rude to Bute or to Medina, but it's almost a pointless fight. You've got two guys on the same card, which means they were both in shape, ready to fight on the same night.
Yeah.
And they're not fighting each other.
Yeah.
It's like, what's going on? And this is a PBC Al Haymon problem for me. It's got two world champions, two super middleweight world champions, and it's almost like, well, I've got both of them anyway.
Yeah.
I'm making money either way. Why ruin one when I can have both and mandatories and voluntaries and that's what he seems to be doing right now. And I feel like, as much as they should fight each other after this, I can see it not happen again. Yeah. I can see it not happen again.
You know, people are going to say that Porky is a mandatory. Is the mandatory? He has to fight him. Really, you don't. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, there's ways around it. When you got a fighter that is, let's be honest, not worthy of the mandatory position, it stifles the career or the progression of the actual division. And this is why I don't follow mandatories and you don't really follow mandatories. We don't follow certain things within the sport. Not because we're ignorant to the sport, because we're looking at the best of the sport, not the worst of it.
Yeah, 100% right. I mean, look at Medina, who's going to fight Degale, for example, and you look at his record and you think, okay, mandatory position should mean that you've beat, for me, personally, a guy ranked 7, a guy ranked 6, and then you're fighting the guy that's ranked number 1 or 2 because you've deserved it. He beat Jalen Love, who to me was just hype. Anyway, that shouldn't get. And then the 3 fights after have been against nobodies. I mean, he fought a guy. His fight to get into this position was a guy 29-10.
Yeah.
This fight before that, we had to double check. What was it? 0,
24
losses and 2 draws or something.
Two draws, yeah, 2 draws.
So when guys are gonna come back at me and Ryan and say, "Oh, but it's a mandatory. You guys don't know what you're talking about." We get it's a mandatory, but we're trying to say that shouldn't stifle your career, like Ryan said. How is that worthy of taking on the champion when your last opponent was 29-10 and before that was 24 losses or whatever it was? That's not mandatory. Mandatory means I deserved it and I worked my way up. That is not deserving.
Degale is in favour of his mandatory, and when I say that is that he fought Darrell, he fought Bute, and now he's got a mandatory which is kind of the soft touch, and then he should go back into a next big fight.
Agreed.
That's the way it should be working. It shouldn't be working where you get caught mandatory, or unworthy opponents stacking up your time. Like we said at the beginning of the video, there are so many supermiddleweights right now, the division is so hot, and everyone's fought within the past 4 to 6 weeks, they could all fight meaningful fights in their next fight going forward, because there's enough contenders, enough title holders, because none of us are unified, and enough contenders, enough title holders out there to give everyone decent matches.
I will say this about Degale, and we know the issue that he's, behind the scenes that it looks like he might be having with Eddie Hearn because of this PBC thing and what's going on there, but this is a guy that beat, I can't remember the guy he beat on the Wembley undercard, I can't remember his name now.
Andre Ward's training partner.
Andre Ward's sparring partner. And everyone was a bit high about him. I can't remember Gonzalez.
Brandon Gonzalez.
Brandon Gonzalez, who destroyed. It was to me, it was the best performance on the card. It was fantastic, considering that the pressure that was coming in. You've just been signed to Eddie Hearn. You wanted this. Here it is now. And then you went and beat smash Pariband as well. So it's 2 good performances on English soil, and now he's fighting away from home, which I don't necessarily mind, but it almost reminds me of a kind of Froch situation where Froch got his love from America and then had to come back and get it from here. And this is the guy that I think talks well, boxes well. His fights are always interesting because he gets a bit sloppy, but the fights are always fantastic. And this is a guy that has to go and fight away from home rather than fight in London and go to arena like Anthony Joshua's doing, because he lives 20 minutes away from that as well. I don't know what's going on with Degale. Don't get me wrong, I still like watching his fights, but Degale should be fighting at home. O2 Arena should be selling out. I don't know what's happening.
Let me just give guys a quick reminder in case they forget what you're talking about. When the Super 6 started, Carl Froch had 0 TV coverage for Super 6. I think it was Premier Sports trying to pick up
Premier Sports
at short notice. And if you don't watch, I don't know, Premier Sports?
I think they tried. I think it was Premier Sports or one of those.
Something way,
it was awful.
And there was no teacher, no one knew.
No one was interested in it over here.
No one cared about it. It's only after he won a couple fights and then he signed from Hennessy to Matchroom that we got the Super 6 over here and saw the fights. So he was getting 0 love.
People
forget that.
I think people forget. I think they look at Carl Froch's last 7 or 8 fights and think he's been a Sky Sports favourite. No, he hasn't.
No.
He hasn't at all. Do you know what I mean? And I think Degale just reminds me of that. A guy that is world champion. One, you know what I always say? I always said this. Sorry guys, we're going to rumble on a bit, but I've always said, look at our world champions. Okay, they're world champions and fantastic, but who really is number 1 in the division out of all of them? He legitimately is number 1 super middleweight in the world right now, and the other world champions can't say that. They can't say they're the best in the world. He's one of the only ones that can concrete tell me I'm number 1. And I'm like, you are. But he's getting no love over here. Strange.
True. Let's go to the American side quickly. Let's look at Badou Jack. A titleist that no one expected to be the titleist. Give him credit for what he's done. Even I'm not a big fan of Badou Jack, let's be fair, he got knocked out in the first round. Came back, won a couple fights, beat Anthony Durrell, which we thought he was going to lose. Beat George Groves, which I was guaranteed, I said it is George Groves' best shot at a world title. I was adamant that it would be walk in the park for George Groves, and it wasn't. He's proving he's got something. Now, even though I'm not a big fan of his style, you don't beat fighters of that caliber if you don't have something. Moving forward, if he beats Lucian Bute, would they roll the dice with him to actually put him in a match now to say, guess what? He's beaten 3 world-class fighters at that level now after his loss. Are we going to roll the dice and push him into, I won't say the more dangerous fights, but the more interesting fights of the division, i.e. the unification with James Degale or his mandatory against Callum Smith?
You know what it is? It's a risk. And when I look at who his promoter is, the answer is going to be no. Did the great Mayweather ever take major risks in some of the major risky fights he should have taken when we wanted them? So not really. It's a money-making business. If Badou Jack can make money for them taking on weak voluntaries and a couple of mandatories, then they're going to do that until it gets to a stage where it has to happen. Like Mayweather Pacquiao, 5 years in the it has to happen. And right now I kind of feel like Badou Jack's just ticking away the lower tier of the super middleweights, and I think he's just going to keep doing that. There was even saying that he's very big and he might move up to like heavy. I heard rumors like that.
He does look big. He looks tall and wide.
He looks very big. You know what I mean? So I would not be shocked if we don't see Degale versus Badou Jack. But who knows? Who knows? But I wouldn't be shocked. I definitely don't think we're going to see Callum Smith. And if it does, Callum Smith's got to travel, and that's just a whole new ball game. So as good as we think Callum Smith is, traveling to the States, that kind of pressure, hometown.
Especially when they put it in Vegas, like that type of pressure. Like,
it's not easy. It's not easy.
Vegas card.
And he's a big guy. Would he struggle to make weight like everyone seems to struggle when they travel away? I don't know. Alright, predictions on these ones. Let's wrap this up.
Alright, let's do Bute versus Jack first. You know.
Oh, you're going to go against Jack again. Oh my. You know what, how many times can you go against someone? I can saw it in your face. Just go and do what you're going to do. Go on. You got issues, mate.
I'm not sold at Badou Jack.
Okay.
As much as
he's not trying to sell you anything anymore.
As I praised him and said he's done well to do what he's done, the way he bring it all together, I don't think anyone he's fought is as complete as a prime Lucian Bute. Bute we have now is not prime.
Nah, no way.
But he pushed a prime Degale to the wire, in my opinion. I mean, that fight there was 7-5. I mean, if Bute won one more round, and lot of rounds were close as well, it could have been a draw. Badou Jack's strength, to me, seems that after he got knocked out, he fights with better composure. He weren't flustered by the George Groves and George Groves' little movements and what he's trying to do. He weren't flustered. And I think that's good at a slower paced fight. Bute is always have to fight a faster paced fight. I just don't know how he's going to react to it. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with.
Hurry up!
Badou Jack by split or controversial decision.
Okay.
I think Bute will be the busier fighter. Jack will land the better punches throughout the fight, and it'll be one of those fights like, ooh, one more round, he could have got it. I just think that Bute, as good as he is and such a great athlete he is, I think he's past his physical prime, and he couldn't push that extra hard part in the Degale fight. And I think that's the same thing with this fight.
Yeah, I'm going for Badou Jack. This decision, quite comfortable, if I'm honest with you. I like Bute, and I watched that Degale fight a lot, and it was a fantastic performance. And I just feel like, was that his performance? Was that his last one? He got the fight in his hometown. That adds a lot to Bute. Bute is great in his hometown. People have always said that. And I think with Badou Jack, we're getting a guy here that every time you win a world title, like you said, it gives you an extra 10%. Defending it must give you an extra 10% as well. He seems to be more composed in the ring. I don't know if that's the Mayweather factor, where Mayweather seems really composed, and maybe he's learning from that. And I just think we're getting a guy here now that, as much as I think there's still things to work on, he is number 2 in the division behind James Degale, and I think that's on merit. Yeah, so I get it. 116, 112, maybe even a bit more, maybe even a late stoppage. I'm still a bit caution about Bute's chin. You know what I mean?
I talk about Bute's chin, yeah. And the one thing about that Bute's now got his as being a bit chinny. I don't think he's a bit chinny. I think the two people that knocked him out, or officially, well, one officially and one unofficially, Lombardo Andrade, who's a bloody steam truck. If you know who this guy is, go check him out back in the day. Slow, unorthodox, just rocks, hammers, bricks in his fists. And Froch, I don't think there's no discrediting getting knocked about those type of people. For the record, Bute got saved in the 12th round in that Andrade fight.
Saved.
He was that cold. He was finished.
Done.
He was finished. Yeah.
All right, go on, Degale.
James Degale. My criticism of James Degale was being that he gets bored in the fight. Even the fight, and even the big fight, the tough fights, just like he had with Darrell, middle rounds he kind of got bored and kind of had to bring it back on. Same thing with the Bute fight. The first 4 rounds looked kind of like comfortable. Then he kind of lost his track and then had to bring it back. He shouldn't be doing that in this fight. This is a fight for him made to win. Porky's been stopped a few times. James Degale should say, guess what? This guy's been stopped 3-4 times. I'm going to stop this guy and make it look more impressive. I'm going to start my claim. I've had my 2-3 hard fights in a row. This is my fight to say, guess what? This is my fun fight. I expect to see a James Degale that I wouldn't say flashy, but you know James likes the limelight a little bit.
A bit.
Yeah, he's going to turn the razzle dazzle up a little bit and stop Porky mid rounds.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you on that one, and I think it's a fantastic opportunity to do so as well. You're in America, you're on PBC, you're on their television, and what an opportunity you've got to kind of, you know, if Eddie Hearn and the rest of the matchroom crew don't want to give you opportunities here, then hey, go and do it over there. We saw what's happened to Amir Khan since he's been over there. He's a superstar over there. James Degale's got the personality, he's got the boxing ability, and I think, like you said, it's the perfect opponent for him to look really good. And then, you know, let him become the number 1 over there. Let PBC promote him the way I think he should be promoted. And now he's not been promoted here. That's the way I think, Kevin. Maybe I'm looking at it differently, but I just kind of feel like we hear a lot about Cam Smith over here. Do you know what I mean? Who is just a European champion. I don't think I hear the same about Degale, who's a world champion. Maybe that's just me. I don't know, but that's the way I feel. I always feel like I hear Eddie Hearn say Cam Smith's going to be the future and doing it, and I'm thinking, well, you got a kid here who is the future. He's on your promotional team. What's going on? Make him the king.
Like I said.
Is it just me?
Yeah.
You seeing this? Anyway, there you go, guys. So James Degale, Badou Jack. Like Ryan said at the start of the video, the super middleweight division is interesting. The last 6 months and the next 2 or 3 months, we're going to finally get to see who really is. Because me and Ryan always go back and forth about the top 10. I think we will now, before June, be able to tell you 1, 2, 3, 4, because they're all going to fight each other and get in the mix. And hopefully we get some unifications at the end of it.
I think that we don't really do ranking videos, but I think we should do it after this card. Do a ranking division, because that means all the 7 to 8 of the top 10 fighters in the division would have all fought within the last 3 months.
Yeah, and one we've missed out that we discussed kind of off camera. Children of Sturm. Remember, Sturm's the titleist right now.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So the title's that to go for.
Sturm's a title this year, but I still rank Children over Sturm.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. All right, there you go, guys. Leave the comments below. Tell us who wins. Degale, Jack, do they meet if they both win, or are we going to get a situation where both are signed by the same promoter, so they'll be avoided? But we'll see. It's weird. Matchroom would put them together.
Yeah.
PBC, stay apart, make more money. Tell us what you think. Peace.